This episode of History Hunter's Signature Edition will take a glimpse into the correspondence of Mamie Eisenhower, America's First Lady. I'll also take a look at the life of President Eisenhower through some of his letters. Dwight Eisenhower, credited with the defeat of Adolf Hitler during World War II, was an American hero. His popularity allowed the Kansas-raised former general to win the presidency in 1952. Eisenhower took office January 20th, 1953. In September 1955, life for the Eisenhowers was about to change. While on vacation in Colorado, on the Cherry Hills Country Club golf course outside of Denver, the 62-year-old president started complaining of indigestion, which he believed was due to the hamburger with onions that he had wolfed down between morning and afternoon games. The next day, on September 24, 1955, the president suffered a major heart attack and was rushed to Fitzsimmons Army Hospital, where he spent months in recovery. In March 1949, 6 years before Eisenhower suffered his first major heart attack, a physician told him to reduce his smoking from 4 packs of cigarettes per day to 1. However, Eisenhower quickly learned that counting cigarettes is more difficult than not smoking at all, so he gave up smoking altogether. First Lady Mamie Eisenhower had always been the consummate letter writer and dutifully answered letters from well-wishers around the globe, expressing hopes that the president would get better and return to office. This is an example of one of her replies, written on October 8th to Robert Woodward, the ambassador to Costa Rica. She expressed thanks for the prayers for her husband. On October 25th, 1955, a gaunt-looking Eisenhower was wheeled outside to a hospital terrace where he had a chance to speak to reporters. Obviously, because so many people were asking about his health, the president's shirt was embroidered with the words, "Much better, thanks." The president was released from the hospital on November 15, 1955, but spent most of his time taking it easy at his Gettysburg family farm. He found his days of idleness to be boring, frustrating, and very depressing. As election year 1956 rolled around, many speculated if Eisenhower's health would permit him to run for re-election and serve another 4 years. Eisenhower was tormented with the decision to run or not to run. Mamie had supported another bid for the White House, saying, quote, "Idleness would be fatal." Son John Eisenhower believed that another term would kill his dad. However, in January, Ike headed to a vacation in Key West, Florida, where he seemed to bounce back strong after days of relaxation with friends. The president suffered from insomnia, often waking up early with pressing national issues on his mind. Death was very much in his thought process. In early February, he wrote on White House stationery, "As I embark on the last of life's adventure, my final thoughts will be for those I've loved, family, friends, and country." In late January, Dr. Paul White told reporters that Eisenhower was physically able to run for office again. He, of course, went on to win re-election in November and was inaugurated a second time. Eisenhower's heart problems were far from over. He suffered multiple heart attacks before he died in 1969 at the age of 78. William Sterrett, Eisenhower's doctor after he retired in 1961, said he found the former president in severe abdominal pain and asked what he had eaten for dinner. "Pig knuckles and sauerkraut," Ike answered. "Why?" the doctor queried. "'Cause I like it, darn it," replied Eisenhower. When you're trying to win a war, you don't always eat the best meals. Apparently, Eisenhower also had his fair share of spam during World War II. In a 1968 letter to Tim Corey of the Hormel Company, Eisenhower said, "During World War II, of course, I ate my share of spam along with millions of other soldiers. I'll even confess to a few unkind remarks about it, uttered during the strain of battle, you understand. But as former Commander-in-Chief, I believe I can still officially forgive you your only sin, sending so much of it." The last 3 years of Eisenhower's second term in office were ones of relatively good health. He left the White House on January 20th, 1961, and split his time between the farm in Gettysburg and a house in the Palm Desert of California. In March 1962, Eisenhower hosted President Kennedy at his home in Palm Springs. In those days, members of the opposing party were civil to one another, and Ike was always eager to give others advice when they asked for it. Like many Americans, Eisenhower was stunned and shocked to hear that President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963.
I share the sense of shock and dismay that the entire nation must feel at the despicable act that took the life of the nation's president. On the personal side, Mrs. Eisenhower and I share the grief that Mrs. Kennedy must now feel.
As the entire nation mourned, Eisenhower looked forward to escaping the cold winter of Pennsylvania and head to warm, sunny Southern California. Before parting on December 14, 1963, Eisenhower penned a letter to friend Clarence Shue, a businessman in Massachusetts. As a friend of professional golfer Bobby Jones, Shue helped set up the Augusta National Golf Club. Shue was a frequent golfing partner there of President Eisenhower. In his handwritten letter, Eisenhower wrote, "Mamie and I are off for California this evening. When we reach there Tuesday morning, I hope I shall be playing golf in a matter of minutes." A tenderness to the old general shined through when he penned, "As we leave, we want you to know how much we value our friendship with you two. We trust your Christmas will be a merry one, and that the new year will bring you its richest blessings. Devotedly, Ike Eisenhower." A major health scare came in August 1965 when Eisenhower suffered yet another severe heart attack. This one largely ended his role in public affairs. This time he was seen at Fort Gordon Army Hospital in Georgia. 2 additional heart attacks came in November 1966. At the end of the year, Mamie Eisenhower wrote some good friends, and her letter gives us a glimpse into the life of the now sidelined family. After giving thanks for a Christmas gift, she tells Major General Persons and his wife Allie that they had a merry time with all the children here. There was never a dull moment, or may I say even a quiet one, for 3 days. You would not recognize our little brood. How they have grown. You would have loved seeing the 3 older ones down on the floor playing Monopoly, arguing about buying the boardwalk at Atlantic City or an apartment on Connecticut Avenue. David said he never cheats unless he's in jail. As you know, this is part of the game. Our biggest thrill, of course, was having Ike home from the hospital. He is so housebound here because of the cold weather that I will be happy to get him out to the desert, where at least the days are warm and sunny and he can get some fresh air. The reference to David was, of course, David Eisenhower, the president's grandson. On March 31, 1948, David Eisenhower was born into a unique arrangement to be close to 2 presidential legacies. He was the son of John and Barbara Eisenhower. His father would go on to become the U.S. ambassador to Belgium in 1969. John Eisenhower is also a renowned military historian. After assuming the presidency in 1953, President Eisenhower named the Presidential Mountain Retreat, formerly called Camp Shangri-La, Camp David, after his grandson. David apparently cheated at Monopoly, according to Mamie. Being close to the family of Richard Nixon, Eisenhower's vice president, David especially warmed up to the pretty Julie Nixon. They were married in 1968. Their 3 children, Jenny, Alexander, and Melanie, uniquely are the grandchildren of President Nixon and the great-grandchildren of President Eisenhower. Eisenhower had a problem staying the course of healthy eating, and it didn't help when Clara Stover, widow of chocolate magnate Russell Stover, apparently no relation to his mother, Ida Stover Eisenhower, sent a box of chocolate from Mission Hills, Kansas. From his office in Indio, California, Ike wrote Clara Stover on January 2, 1968, "Your beautiful Christmas-wrapped box of candy just reached me on Christmas. Indeed, the box itself was so attractive that it was a pity to spoil it. However, as you know, Stover candy is a favorite of mine, so I had to indulge myself promptly. It may have been the last box of chocolate he received from Mrs. Stover." Eisenhower died March 28, 1969. He is buried in a chapel near his childhood home in Abilene, Kansas. As a child, I visited the grave and saw a space for Mamie, who I'd been corresponding with for a time. Mamie always seemed to answer my letters with a handwritten letter herself. Mamie joined him on November 1, 1979, when I was in college.